Oh my god, dude. What's up everybody? Hope you're doing well. So today we are going to be doing some fluid changes on the Land Cruiser. So we're going to be doing the front differential, the center transfer case, and the rear differential fluid. So before we get too far along in this video, I just want to let you know I'm going to break this up into different segments. So if you're just focusing on one particular part to change the fluids out, you can skip to that part, or you can follow through the whole video to see how each one works. Now let's go ahead and show you what parts you're going to need for this job. Alright, so you're going to need some kind of container to obviously drain all your fluids in. You want at least a 10 quart. This right here, as I ran into a situation where the fill plug stripped out on me. So I'm hoping that this extractor will help me. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to find somebody with a welder and weld a bolt on there to get it off. Yeah, it's a huge headache. I tried to film this video before. It didn't work out because of that situation. Rags to clean up any messes that you're going to create, and you're going to need some kind of tool to get all the fluids into the transfer cases and diffs. This is what I picked up. I will link everything that I have in this box, all the tools, everything that I'm going to use down below in the description, so you guys can pick up any tools that you might need. Here's the fluid that I'm using. This is the weight that you're going to need for all of them if you're working on a 100 series Land Cruiser, but make sure that you just confirm with your manual. Always double check that. So I already removed the skid plate for the transfer case, just something that you're going to need to do, so make sure you do that. This is a whole nother issue in itself for me, but it's off. So for the front differential, you're going to need a T55 Torx bit, and this right here is going to be all of the washers that you're going to need for all the plugs. This has more than you will need. It has basically all of the washers for pretty much everything underneath the truck. Alright, since I stripped out the front diff plug, I went ahead and bought new ones for the front and then everything, just in case I run into more issues further along. So everything will be nice, new, and replaced, and hopefully we won't have any issues in the future when we change out this fluid, which is something that should be done probably every 30,000 miles or so. A couple other things that you're probably going to need. You might want to get some PB blaster, and you're going to need a torque wrench, and then just a normal wrench. 24mm socket is going to be your center diff and your rear differential. So I think that is everything. Let's get underneath the truck. So before we get into it, make sure that your vehicle is on a level surface. An easy way to do this is just using the measure device on your cell phone, or you can use obviously a level. So guys, as you saw at the beginning of this video, I stripped this one out, which is scary. So if this wasn't going to work, I would have had to get somebody to weld a nut on there for me to remove it. But luckily, this did in fact work. So I was very, very thankful for that. So the way this extractor works, basically you hammer it in, and then as you're loosening it, it actually tightens into the bolt itself, so you're able to get that plug out of there. Yeah, super stoked that this worked. Hopefully you don't even have to deal with this. So there's actually a surprising amount of fluid that actually came out of the fill plug. Now I'm not sure why this is. I'm not sure if it's because it was a little bit warm, but yeah, that's usually indicated that it's a little bit over full. And then you want to remove the drain plug itself, and luckily this one broke loose for me. And just a heads up, this stuff smells absolutely terrible. Nobody warned me about that. And here's a closer look at the drain plug. Quite a little bit of metal shavings there, so it's a good thing we're switching this out. And here's a closer look at that extractor tool on the fill plug. I actually had to hook it up here and grip it down to break it loose. And as I did that, my whole entire toolbox fell forward because there were too many drawers open. Okay, all the old fluid's out, so let's put some new fluid in. This is the new drain plug. Make sure you throw the new crush washer on there as well. And you want to tighten this down to 36 foot-pounds of torque. Using our syringe pump, we are going to pump in 1.7 quarts of fluid. Now, a good way to find out if you are full and reached capacity is to wait until the fluid overflows from the top of the fill plug. That way you know that you have reached the maximum amount of fluid that you can put in there and you are full. Now be careful not to push too much fluid in all at once, because this could give you a false indication that you are full. Make sure you clean it up and then double check to make sure that it has reached the top of that fill plug. Alright, now we'll take our new fill plug and new washer and tighten that down to 36 foot-pounds of torque as well. And just like that, the front diff is done. Okay, and here we are at the transfer case. These both are going to be 24mm, your fill plug and your drain plug. So we'll go ahead and remove the fill plug first. We want to do this to make sure that there's no fluid coming out of here. It also helps us drain more efficiently. Now let's go ahead and remove the drain plug. Now watch out, this is obviously going to get everywhere. I made a mess pretty much every time. Now what I noticed here on the left is the new drain plug, and on the right is the one that was in there. Obviously there's a big difference here, which concerned me a little bit, but then I looked into it and this is the new replacement piece and it is proper. So don't be alarmed if this is your case. A little bit of metal shavings there, nothing too crazy. Put your new fill plug and washer back on, tighten that down to 27 foot-pounds of torque. Using our syringe pump, we're going to put in 1.4 quarts of fluid. Now once the fluid starts overflowing out of the fill plug, you know that you have reached capacity. And what's nice about this one is you actually look inside the hole and you can actually see the fluid right there on top. So clean that area up. These washers are going to be slightly different, so take note of that for both of these, the fill and the drain plug. We'll put our new one on, and this one will also be tightened down to 27 foot-pounds of torque. And just like that, the transfer case is finished. Now let's move on to the rear diff. All right, so I got a little bit ahead of myself here and removed the fill plug already, but it's 24 millimeter, and I'm using the impact wrench to make things a little bit quicker. Now you want to remove the drain plug, which is also a 24 millimeter. Now be careful, make sure that you slide your drain pan over quickly because it's going to make a very big mess. Now there's quite a bit of metal shavings there, not too bad. This is pretty normal. Also, I don't know when this was changed out last, so this could have been here for a very long time. Now, of course, if you're going to be reusing these plugs, you want to make sure that you clean them off and then just add new washers to them. But in my case, I'm going to be replacing both of these. So once the fluid is completely drained out, we're going to put our new drain plug in with washer, and then we're going to tighten that down to 36 foot-pounds of torque. Now we're going to use our syringe and fill it up to 3.5 quarts. Now 3.5 quarts does take a little bit of time to fill up, so make sure you're paying attention, and once it overflows from the fill plug, that's a good indicator that you are at capacity. Now again, make sure that you didn't accidentally push too much fluid into it, causing it to give you a false indication that you are full. You can do this by checking inside the fill hole and looking with a flashlight to see that you are at level, or you can just push a little bit more fluid into it and make sure that that fluid evenly flows out of the top. Now, unfortunately, my camera is about to die, so I did not film any further during this process. I just finished the job. So what you're going to do is after you fill this up, you're going to put your new fill plug back in with washer, and you are going to tighten that down to 36 foot-pounds of torque, and you will be done. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one.
I just bought a new whip, spend a couple thousand just to cruise it. Shawty said she love me, but I swear she'll never prove it. I never tell her, but I put it in the music. Well, that's okay. All I wanna do is make the best of my whole day. Thank the Lord up above, get the cream on the side, make you laugh to no end. That's the stuff that I love, la da da da.